There are 4 total videos that you need to watch and practice doing before virtual students are allowed to submit their project. I had a couple of issues with the face drawing where students only watched the first 2 videos and then they submitted their work. There were actually more videos with more things to do later on. So for virtual students, you need to make sure that you watch all 4 of these videos. There are 3 practice videos, and then the 4th one shows you the final instructions for the project that I'm going to grade. There are many different ways to draw a pumpkin, but this is the way that I'm going to teach you today. We're going to start off with a general round shape. It's going to be like a very fat oval. And I know that my very first pencil markings are not going to be perfect, so I'm just going to make several large ovals in very light pencil. And then later on, I'll decide which lines I want to keep and which lines that I'm going to erase. So now I can see what lines I want to keep and erase. I want to keep these lines that are furthest out because that looks like my best shape of my pumpkin. Maybe I don't like this line here and I'll keep the line that's under it. Keep this one over here. They're a nice, light, overall pumpkin oval. Now we're actually going to make it look more like a pumpkin. You know what a very long U looks like a really stretched out letter U or the bottom of an almond. At the top of the pumpkin, I am going to make a long letter U. So at the top of my pumpkin, I have a long letter U. Then I'm going to do an upside down U down here, above and below. And then I don't need this bottom part of that oval anymore. I'm going to erase that out. Please pause the video and do this if you haven't already. And I don't need the top of this part anymore either. I'm going to erase that out as well. Pumpkins have these ridges, so I'm going to create them. They're like very long letter C's that are stretched out. So I'll go to my center and I'll make an incredibly long letter C, kind of like that's a big stretched out C. And then I'll do a reverse letter C, like that. Then I'm going to come on this side and copy this reverse C. I'm going to do a reverse C. I might have to tilt my hand a little bit. Reverse C. Then my C is going to kind of curve and kind of start disappearing behind the other one. I'll do another reverse C like this. Then I'm going to come over here and do a regular long C over here. Long, long, regular C all the way down. And then maybe I'll do another little one over here that's kind of hiding behind it. Straighten out my lines a little bit. They got really sketchy. If you haven't done this so far, you need to pause the video and catch up with me. Now we need to make the pumpkin shape different. Like this line is just here to get us started. We're actually going to shape this line up even more. these ridges affect the bottom of the pumpkin. We actually are going to make some long U's like this, a long U. I'm going to make another long U underneath these long letter C's. Another long U right here. Another long U. And like a little tiny one right here. Now, I don't need these old lines anymore. Those were just measurement lines. I want to make sure I can see my long U's instead. Yeah, that's what I want. And we're going to have to do that for the top. You see how it makes it look like the pumpkin has ridges? Well, we need to make sure the top has ridges too. So up here, I can do an upside down U. A little, like a long stretch out upside down U. Another long upside down U. Another one, another one, another one here, here, and here. You see, they're barely even noticeable, but it does make a big difference at the end. I'll erase my old pumpkin lines. Now we're looking really, really good. We need to give the pumpkin a stem. I'm going to do a flat, small line up here. Then, on the left side of that line, I'm going to draw a line kind of straight down with a little bit of a curve to it. But over here, though, I can make that a little bit longer. I'm going to really kind of curve in that line. Give it like a, kind of like a stretched out L. Because then I can make it three-dimensional. An easy way to make something three-dimensional is to come over to the side like right here. Here, I'll pick it up. I made a little slant down line, kind of like what we did with our stairs. So I made a little slant down line on the side of this stem. And then I follow that line there to there. Look, looks three-dimensional. We're actually going to be able to see kind of this far back part of the pumpkin. You can draw some long upside down letter U's like this. I did like 2 U's there. And I might can fit 2, maybe 3 U's over here. 1, 2, 3. They're very stretched out U's, guys. So now it looks like the stem is coming out the center of something. These very long, stretched out U's that connect to the upper part of the pumpkin. So this is just our practice sheet of paper. So you can practice leaves all over however you want, but let me show you kind of how to make a pumpkin patch vine leaf. They're kind of like really bad drawn upside down hearts. And you do it on purpose because they're kind of jaggedy upside down hearts. So I'll start upside down heart and I'll make like it kind of jaggedy and bring it around, still kind of jaggedy. And then I'll come this way, very jagged like. Then I can come through and draw the little vein that's inside of the leaf. Then I can attach it going behind my pumpkin, like that. So now it's looking like my pumpkin's in a patch. Well, because we're artists, we want to be more creative than this. I want you to get really interested in how can I put these leaves in a certain type of way that make my pumpkin really pop. One really good way to make your pumpkin pop is to put a leaf in front of it. That's why we haven't started coloring yet, because you can't add more things on top if I started coloring this. So if I want to plan my leaf to be at a certain angle, I'll go ahead and draw the vein. So I'm like, oh, I want my pumpkin vein and leaf to go in a certain way, so I'll draw the vein first. Then I'll draw my weird heart, my bad heart. It needs to be bad on purpose because leaves are not perfectly straight, just this jaggedy, weird, upside down heart. I make some more veins, and now I have all these weird extra lines, right? I don't want the old pumpkin lines there anymore, because now I have a leaf in front of it. Now I need to erase all of those old pumpkin lines. And it's really going to make the leaf pop out forward whenever we do this. Well, now I want to make it look like the leaf is coming up from behind the pumpkin out in front of it. So I'll attach it. I'll have a line like a long C coming out from behind the pumpkin, and another long C that follows it coming out like that. Now it looks like things are growing in front of it and behind it. That adds a lot of interest to your drawing. On your final project, you can put these leaves however you want. I don't want everybody's to look the same. I'll make one more leaf up here. In order to help me figure out what direction I want it to go, I'll draw the vein, and the vein also helps me figure out how big I want it. Then I'll draw my crazy, really bad upside down heart, kind of squiggly, finish off my veins. And what's so cute about pumpkins is sometimes the vines are curly. So I bet if you had some curly vines coming out every once in a while, it would really add a lot of interest and variety to your pumpkin. So, super cute. I have a variety of leaves going in different directions. I have a variety of different ways that my vines are going. With our pencil, because we're going to mess up, we're going to figure out a basic shadow that goes underneath it. So don't make this so hard, don't push so hard, because we're going to go with color pencil over it in a really specific type of way. Also, don't make this shadow hard because we need to erase it. So our shadow, all of our hand strokes need to be going only left or right. If you do a shadow that has really weird strokes everywhere, it's going to be bad. Or if you want to tilt this to where you can go up and down because your pumpkin's sideways, but you have to stay in this same left and right of pumpkin direction in order for the shadow to work. So I'm going to come down from the edge here, and I want these flat shades. And it's going to start to come under. I'm not curving my lines. Look, every single one of my lines is going in the same direction, but I'm moving my hand down, and I'm moving my whole hand to the side. If you start to curve your lines, you need to go ahead and erase that. Going up under the pumpkin. So I've brought some of my shadow to this upper side of the pumpkin. And I can bring it up over here too. That's why we're doing it in pencil. If the shadow looks weird, then maybe it does on yours. You can take your eraser and kind of shape it to where it's a more believable kind of shadow. Okay? But it's definitely going to be the most believable if you keep this left and right kind of motion. And especially making it a tad bit darker, closer to the pumpkin's really going to help it too.